I've never gotten a date through cold approaching a girl.
If y'all are going to talk about my stance, what do we think of this stance, chat? Like, y'all want to me in that one No Love More video. Bro, why you standing like that, bro? Bro stands like an NPC, bro. I don't like this stance, bro. He's white, he gets a pass. Shut your 1942 Jim Crow.
On one of life's most amazing experiences. There is nothing that makes you feel like more of a man and makes the girl feel better about herself and more excited than a fun guy approaching her, going after what he wants, and setting a date with her when he never would have met her otherwise. If you don't know what cold approach is, it's where
what I do respect about him is he's 100% right. And this is why approaching can be so fun. A lot of y'all got to get over that hump of fear. Like, it could be a fun thing. Like, it goes smooth. You get the number, exchange the contact, y'all link, and it go.
you see a girl you would never talk to otherwise, and you go up and you talk to her. It's very simple. But just by doing this, you are a man that literally creates his own reality. There is no amount of looks, money, or status that will be more attractive to a woman than a guy that sees a situation and makes something completely his own out of it. So
this is the opposite of the guy we just watched, chat. Am I right or wrong? This is the opposite side of that argument. But
the next time you see a girl, think about it not just as an opportunity to meet someone amazing, to have an amazing experience, but also to train you to be the type.
See, to me, this is the difference between like a sort of optimism, happy about life, versus defensive dating. That's what I would call a lot of today, chat, in a lot of discussions. It's like it's defensive dating. Am I right or wrong, chat? Tell me what your standpoint on that is. I feel like a lot of shit out here is just defensive dating. I don't want to lose the power and the leverage. I have more power and leverage over her in the relationship. This is that. It's like, oh my God, brother, please. Damn, like, it's no way you just stressed out when you think about the dynamic of your relationship. You know what I think, chat? If you have two individuals, now obviously this is where the people are like, oh, dating is such a game. Like, I don't want to manipulate or do this much or try this hard. Really, a lot of my advice, chat, be based on social skills. It like literally just in the context of talking to a woman. But my thought is, chat, if you have two people that respect themselves, right? Two people with self-respect, and they're dealing with each other, it's not a battle of power, leverage. See, that's more so like a damn near a toxic game. It's an immature, toxic game of like who can flex what over who. I'm trying to get the one up on her, and she's trying to get the one up on me. Now listen, am I being idealistic? Am I being optimistic? I think it is. I think it is within human nature that when two people interact with each other, they're trying to gauge where the other person is, right? They're trying to gauge, okay, I think you naturally create those imbalances in power if you come into it with a low self-esteem. Or you come into it with a super high ego. Because what will happen is, if you have a person with a really high ego and then the next person has a self-respect, right? Self-respect, they're more so on a common ground. They can be confident, you can add confidence on top of that, but they just have self-respect. It's not an overpowered, control psyche mentality, and it's not low self-esteem where they'll let somebody walk over them, but they have self-respect, right? You put them like somewhere in the middle. If that's the two extremes, low self-esteem and arrogant and egotistical. If a person is so egotistical and they're dealing with a person with self-respect, the person with self-respect is not going to tolerate that. That other person is naturally going to be humble because the person with self-respect simply will not buy into their ego. Number two, number one, they're going to be humble because the other person is not going to buy into their ego. And then number two, the person with self-respect might fuck around and cut them off. I ain't dealing with that. She tripping. Bye. Because I have enough self-respect to walk away. Now, that dynamic going to go like this. Low self-esteem, egotistical. It doesn't have to be that. To where it's like, all right, I got all the power and the leverage, and this person, is catering to that. And then chasing around after me, or I want them to be doing that. See what I'm saying, bro? Send this nigga to the block party, bro. Block party first class ticket, man. You gonna be in the front with the pilot, bro. Block party, man. You getting blocked. There's always a dynamic of masculine and feminine. But what does that have to do with power and leveraging power over the other person? Y'all know I always say that. I always say that in any relationship, it seems that masculine and feminine, qualities and energy just has to have a balance. Even if it's a woman dating a woman, you notice that. Nigga said misclicked. I think you're just betting on yourself. You gotta be okay with y'all are a team. You know what I'm saying? Because the thing about it, bro, if you're in a relationship with a girl and y'all on the same team, bro, then the interest of the relationship is the priority, not me versus her. If you're in a relationship and it's you versus her, oh my God, you just already setting it up terribly. You setting it up terribly. What about if you don't communicate for a couple of days? Does that mean something? Why are you not communicating for a couple of days? You trying to have your how much the other person likes you validated? Again, I'm telling you, that's the output of low self-esteem, bro. And y'all gotta realize that. You want that person to jump through flaming hoops to prove to you they like you, instead of looking at how they treat you already. My hard thing is, chat, I don't ask for nothing. I notice how somebody acts alone, unprovoked, uninfluenced. I see how they treat me alone. That tells me a lot, because they gonna do what they want to do. It's like women know this. It's like if you got her flowers, boom, she's happy. If she had to complain and then you bought her flowers, it's like it don't hit the same. So why can't that be understood in dating in general? How can you overcome the lack of communication? So Johnny, now the first message you said being, what if y'all don't communicate for a couple of days? You making me think she didn't text you back. See, this is what I'm saying with a person with self-respect. A person with self-respect and dignity is not sending that double, triple text, bro. They're not sending that double, triple text, bro. They're not. And I'm going to give you an example of this from my own situation. Like, literally, y'all seen this on stream, bro. That girl that did that double date situation, chat. Shout out her, cool girl and all that. But we were supposed to link a couple days after that, right? She was supposed to come back. But I had to cancel because I was supposed to be packing for Houston and I wasn't packed yet. So I told her, I'm like, all right, we just going to link when I come back, blah, blah, blah. And then instead I spent that night packing and going to Houston instead of doing that stream with her. Now listen, we hadn't texted in like literally 3-4 weeks or something like that, right? The lights can join Jordan, bro. We hadn't texted in weeks. No communication, right? No communication. Y'all randomly saying, chat, call her. I call her, she says, who's this? To me, that was a joke in my mind because I wasn't actively trying to be in her life. I wasn't actively trying to be on her roster or keep the communication or literally. I think if I look at the messages, I'm the one that didn't text back for those weeks. And that's not like a power dynamic thing. I'm just saying, when you look at that and I heard the who this, right? The who's this, I just hung up the phone. I hung up the phone. I left it at that. Then she tried to get her get back. Don't hang up on me. You won. I don't see, chat. To me, I'm not playing that game. I don't want to play that game. You know what I'm saying? I have enough self-respect. I'm not going into that dynamic. To me, that's childish. At this space in my life. No, an older version of me. You know what I'm saying? I might try to flip the whole dynamic and then create an obsession to prove a point to my ego. But I don't come from a place like that no more. To me, it's not that big of a deal. I was about to move. I already know I'm not even about to put in that much effort. Like, it wasn't worth it to me. Go on about her life. I go on about mine. You know what I'm saying? Give me some of that copium. Call it copium if you want. I'm just calling it for what it is, bro. This girl shot at me during gym, but I had to pass her to homeboy. How do I steal her back? Shoot your shot again, I guess. So this is what you have to do, I guess. Flirt. Do what you want to do. Loki wish we had the older side that day, but I like the move. It was tempting. It was tempting, bro. He literally moved. How's it copium? Exactly, chat. Niggas calling it copium. I'm literally about to fucking move. Do you think she had a lack of interest? I think that there was no interest developed at all. I didn't text her. I didn't call her. I didn't put in no effort to talk to her at all. And then I FaceTime, out of nowhere. So from her point of view, I didn't text her back since the last time I tried to link her. I'm just using that as an example, right? Shout out that girl, W girl, whatever. But the point I'm making of this, if we skip to that phone call, looking at the situation, seeing the who this, I have enough self-respect to just let that go. Just let it be. If she wanted to, she would communicate. I think if you feel like you sticking your neck out, bro, let it go, bro. Have enough self-respect to let it go. He wanted to shoot in the first place, but got shit on, so I pray he didn't clutch his 1v1. Man, you really gotta step up. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Man, just our generation. I like to fix the source. Men becoming masculine.
Men used to be a lot more masculine.
These takes are always really amusing because they are actually so close to getting it. Because yes, something of a previous generation's notion of manhood and masculinity is being lost. But what they're missing is the historical context, because this is not a bug. This is not a problem unique to this particular moment. This is actually a feature, a part of the design of masculinity. We were complaining that men are too feminine back in 2004. Also in 1980, 2004.
Today's men, particularly young men, are embracing their feminine sides, experts say. They're seeking sleek electronics, the right face cream, and an honest manicurist. Man, if they knew how... everybody gets pedicures and manicures now. It's a social evolution, said Candace Corlett of WSL Strategic Retail, a consulting firm in New York. There's even a name for this category of blank metrosexual. He's a metro's not afraid of blank blank. He's black.
Also in 19...
Manicure gel. I think that's what the word was.
1984.
Should I read all these chats or I just listen to them? I feel like reading these. Are American men wimpier? That shit is in 1984. Are American men wimpier now than then? Question. I'm an older woman, and I believe in equal rights and all that, but Langdon, don't you think all of this women live stuff has contributed to the wimping of American men? Am I just imagining it, or is today's man less manly than those I grew up with?
1984.
Strong. I can't read the rest of it.
1965.
That men are becoming feminine was the motion debated by Chelsea and Willesden, young liberals at the College of St. Mark and St. John, Chelsea last week. The motion was proposed by Anne Varney, Chelsea, to a room that included young liberals from many branches in inner London. She said that men were increasingly avoiding their responsibilities, Mondays, that's the only thing that makes sense there, and that their increased use of toiletries, blank hair, and dandified clothes, obvious signs that blank becoming effeminate. That probably meant to say right there. Unless that's a different word, I just don't know. And blank repent. He fucking up the whole shit, bro.
65. 1950.
Alright, I'm gonna keep reading these chat. Here's surprising news. We men are getting feminine. I can't entirely stomach the idea either. This was in 1950, chat. Holy shit. He probably would have thought, he probably was spawned today and lose his mind. Here's surprising news. We men are getting feminine. I can't entirely stomach the idea either, but it seems to be true. Some research guys looking into men's masculine and feminine ratios tell us we're losing our masculinity and gaining in femininity. What a discovery. Maybe in years we'll sing soprano.
1950. 1940.
Raw meat diet. Pause. They was tripping in 1940, man. At the meeting of the American Medical Association, a speaker maintained that the American people are getting less vigorous, the men more feminine, and the women more masculine because we don't eat raw meat. Fire for that! Fire for that! This person probably ate a raw piece of chicken right after this. Like, man, I ain't losing my vigorosity. Now, I want to look up the exact definition of being vigorous because I know this word from like games, like life, like a life force or strength. Vigorous. Carried out forcefully and energetically. Vigorous exercises. Possessing vigor. Right? Then we look at vigor. Physical strength and good health. Effort, energy, and enthusiasm. Whew. With mental health being what it is now, chat, there's definitely a lot of lack of vigor, bro. A lack of intensity. A lack of energy. Attack. You know what I'm saying? Lack of all that shit, chat. Everybody too laid the fuck back, man. I guess that's an argument, chat. Chat, are you a vigor? Do you have vigor? Are there vigors in the chat? I try to be vigor. Vigor up for real. Lack of testosterone. Definitely, that probably definitely 100% contributes. I'm a vigor. Shout out all my vigors. I'm a hard vigor. No, vigor, they making that argument back in 1940, bro. They was lacking vigor, bro. I'm vigor as fuck, bro. I'm the biggest vigor you know, bro. I have all of that, bro. I don't have vigor. I am vigor. Nigga said vigor. I'm a vigor nigga. I'm vigoring motherfucker. I'm a vigoring motherfucker. Vigors be saying that. Fuck vigor. Fuck alpha. I'm vigor. Vigor with the hard R. All jokes to the left, chat. Be honest. I feel like purpose gives you a lot of vigor. Like as soon as you get purpose, bro, you put the hard R in vigor, bro. Nigga said vigor's in Paris. Tyler spent all his VC on camera quality instead of Wi-Fi connection. I almost fucking banned you just out of spite. Last day of Black History Month. What? Vigor, please. Niggas said, Vigor, please. Yo, chill the fuck out, chat.
1932.
I wonder what their standard of a feminine man was back in 1940. Like, woo, they would probably come out and just start spamming that shit. Vigor! You know what I'm saying? They would probably just come out and start tripping, bro. Like, oh my God, man, the words that will fly, man. 1932.
You can see that we were always blaming women for it, too.
Men becoming feminine, using much makeup. Oh, nah.
1922.
Damn. August 3rd, Long Beach, August 31st. Feminine tendencies and masculine clothing were excoriated in Judge Carl Hawkins' court. Excoriated, chat. I don't think I know that word, brother. Let's look that up. To wear the skin of, a braid, to censor scathingly. Yo, I feel like our intelligence with words back in the day was just different, bro. Because now I got to look up abrade. Scrape or wear away by friction or erosion. No, that word cooks, chat. That word cooks. Excoriated. Okay, so to wear away, basically. Now, we go back to the context. Feminine tendencies and masculine men clothing were excoriated in Judge Carl Hawkins' court while Carlton B. Hilbert, in a part of Fanny Little Panties, stood silently behind a sickly smile. No, if they was wearing men was wearing panties in 1922, bro, we might beat them. Actually, we might got them beat. Where's your blankety case? Stormed the judge. That is lacking in your blank. Some ruffles on your blank, a ribbon in your hair. A judge cooked his ass. Gilbert was a blank, a pair of corduroy trousers blanking at the bottom with blanking blank of bright blank. So this nigga came in there dressed like in a crazy fashion, I guess.
1910.
Damn. This shit go back deep, chat. I guess masculinity was on the trajectory of the downfall. Nigga, nobody really knows when the vigor was lost, bro. When the vigor started going away. When the vigors started just disappearing. People just started lacking vigor one day. Are women becoming masculine in their habits? In 1910. In 1910, bro. If the American woman persists in her undue athletic sports, there will soon be little difference between the masculine and the feminine. This nigga put it in all capitals on a typewriter. You know he was angry. In no other country in the world we see such masculine like figures as the Americans have. 1902. No feminine men wanted. No, chat. This shit getting deep, bro. This is 100 years ago, bro. Over 100 years. They didn't just predict the future. They're not predicting the future. These are articles based on observations. So these are not predictions, chat. These are observations. So in their time, they were already complaining about masculinity and femininity being wrong in men and women, just like we are today. So I guess no matter what the time was, they were already complaining about the last standard that was set. And it still didn't stop, I guess, the trajectory of it going down. I noticed a certain style among young men in almost every locality. A style so repulsive and weak as to shock the intelligence of a refined people. That's the only voice I hear. I hear just some bitter old head. The hateful style of parting the hair in the middle. Ugh. If we expect to cultivate strong manhood on the American soil, we will miss it if we bring forth abundant crops of feminine men. One of the most sickening sensations that ever crept down my spinal column. Damn! This nigga put it on his spine, bro. This nigga put it on his spinal column, bro. I gotta read that again. This is in 1902. This nigga was sick. This nigga was flustered, heated, fed up, bamboozled when he went outside that day. If we expect to cultivate strong manhood on American soil, we will miss it if we bring forth abundant crops of feminine men. One of the most sickening sensations that ever crept down my spinal column was caused by standing in the pulpit one Sunday night and the countless 16 young heads with young boys. They ain't call them young boys yet. Young heads. Now we call y'all old heads, bitch. Young heads with luxury growths all hanging down their side. So long hair was the standard for being feminine back in the day. The whole 16 heads so be perfect sap heads will blank consciousness or something isness, whatever. Notice blank blank, you please, indifferent blank blank, will my observation blank blank me out of blank blank in their hair and their blank blank to the church. Man, he put it on God.
1893.
1893, god damn. Here's another evidence that men are becoming feminine in their habits. Funeral services were being held in a PE church in Williamsburg. Dr. Darlington was calling attention to the fact that in the midst... So, chat, it seems like a lot of their standards of femininity was obviously when state and church were very tied together based on church and religious standards. Dr. Darlington was calling attention to the fact that in the midst of life we are in death when the widow of the deceased became hysterical. This caused the youngest child, a boy little more than an infant, to faint, and in quick succession in different parts of the church 3 men fainted. A singular feature of the affair was that none of the many women present fainted. Yo, chat. This nigga is basically saying, I knew our men were cooked when I was at a funeral, and one man started crying, a little boy fainted, and 3 men passed out. And then he looked around and the women were holding their composure. He was disgusted. No, chat. That's actually crazy. Nah, this particular guy might not be wrong. This guy in 1893, he might not be particularly wrong. I'm not going to lie. Out of all these articles we read, he has the strongest case. The other guy said, you parted your hair in the middle, you're feminine. You got long hair, you're feminine. You know what I'm saying? Okay, all right, cool. I'm supposed to just shave my shit every day like motherfucking Riddick. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, this guy might not be tripping, bro. If I'm at a funeral and I'm looking at niggas pass out and cry, ball out, and then the woman just sitting there with their legs crossed, like, what the fuck, these niggas are... I might have actually wrote this article myself.
1886.
Oh my God. Are the sexes changing places? I ain't gonna lie, these titles are funnier than the actual paragraphs, bro. Men becoming effeminate in their bearing and women grow more dashing. It is rather amusing to note just now that the fashionable world displays a tendency decidedly the reverse of that which obtained a few years ago. Once it was proper for men to cultivate a martial bearing. Now, chat. I'm gonna look at this exact definition of martial. Chat. Do y'all know what the definition of the word martial is? No, because this nigga was actually looking for Spartans. Clickbait back in the 1800s on God. Yeah, all y'all think of martial arts, martial law, and all these types of things. Y'all know what martial means? Nigga, of appropriate to war. Warlike. That's the exact definition of martial. So when he says martial bearing, it was proper for men to cultivate a martial bearing, that it was normal for men to look like they were war ready. I ain't gonna lie, that's savage, bro. That's savage, bro. Hair on your chest, strong muscles, slick cut, serious face. You niggas laugh too much, chat. Y'all don't have vigor, bro. I guess that's how he felt back in the day, man. They held their heads in the air, took manly strides, held their shoulders back, and were brisk and talkative. The proper thing for girls at the time was the drooping and willow article. And Lowry, oh no, that's not an R. Lowry, it could be Lowry. Lowry article. It hadn't much appetite, and it cultivated the habit of drooping its lids over its large blue eyes. He's talking about white women, bro. All this is obviously 1886. I know what was going on back then, chat. All this is very bad form now. Men should droop a little, carry themselves careless, and bend their head in a trifle forward. 500 specimens on view at the horse blank to be taken as examples. This nigga counted 500 men he felt was weak. You know how angry you gotta be to count 500 niggas that you think are weak and call them specimens? Not fit too smugly, their trousers blinked very wide, and were always freshly ironed, and that the seams will show just as they blank trousers that. So you looking at niggas' trousers and you worried about femininity, bro? The closet is made of glass.
Just for funsies, here's Hippocrates making the same complaint in 400 BCE.
I'ma just wrap it up and say niggas was never satisfied with masculinity. Ever. Chat. 400 BCE is crazy. Abstract. This is the abstract from, I guess, some scientific article that went over it. The Hippocratic text on the winds, waters, and places contains a fairly long description of an ancient Scythian tribe, the nomadic Soromats. In this tribe, the gender roles appear to have been inverted to some degree. The virgin women fight from horseback with swords, bows, and arrows, and are not allowed to marry before they have killed 3 enemies. You hear that, ladies? Don't even fucking DM me or ask for a date until you can show me 3 bodies, not in bed, but on the field. You know what I'm saying? That tribe was on some shit. God damn. No, oh my God. The virgin women fight from horseback with swords, bows, and arrows, and are not allowed to marry before they have killed 3 enemies. That rule sounds crazy. Like, the married women are often infertile. The Hippocratic author ascribes this to the pronounced fatness of these women. Body shaming in 400 BCE, Chad. It just never goes away. Many men suffer from impotence and, as a consequence, dress as women, talk like them, and carry out feminine household work. So these niggas live like lions. The Hippocratic author emphasized the male impotence and the female infertility stem from the cold, damp climate and the Scythians' way of living, particularly the men spending most of their time riding. Riding what? Horseback riding. Riding, in contrast, Herodotus states that the male impotence in Aphrodite's revenge because the Scythians ravaged her temple in Ascalon many years earlier. So they put in some Greek goddess type shit on it. But Chad, would y'all survive in that society, bro? You got to come back, take off her armor, and cook. Have a nice cooked meal after she just got done slaying that day. Slay has a different meaning nowadays. Slay in their tribe meant something completely different. Telling your girl that she's slaying, it meant something. She literally was slaying, killing in that society. Not gonna lie, bro would have just cooked. And if you don't cook, she might be better at fighting than you.
As an aside, if you want to see these in detail, just go to Twitter and look up Paul Ferry. Now, what makes those examples particularly interesting is not just that it is the same complaint being made over a period of 2,400 years. how the specific details that are referenced in the complaints actually goes to demonstrate how changeable masculinity is. Because there are the standard cliches: men are doing too much housework, they're being encouraged to be emotional. And there are the funny ones, like men should not wear corduroy pants, part their hair down the middle, or wear embroidered bathrobes. But then there are also those complaints that go a long way towards showing just how fluid gender is. Like the 1977 complaint that men aren't able to garden, or the 1886 complaint that it's the women who are talkative in public and not the men. On a similar note, the sports writer Joe Posnanski once wrote that every baseball fan is convinced.
Imagine it's 1886. You start talking to a stranger in public and he calls you gay because you talk too much. Like, yo, this guy was weird, man. He's talking to me.
That the game used to be perfect in the past. And when pushed to explain the moment when it was perfect, it is nearly always when that fan was 12 years old, before they began to question their heroes or recognize that they were real people with flaws, both their sports heroes and their own dads. That fantasy of a past masculine order that was perfect, that nostalgic desire for it, is the exact same. It is every bit as illusory and elusive because there is no there. Because if there is one consistent feature in all these iterations of masculinity, it's that it is never achievable. It is only ever aspirational. And that achievement is particularly impossible when it always lies in the past.
So basically, they always chasing a shadow. Like, oh, men should act like this. And then you can go back 20 years later and they were saying men should act like they act 20 years later, 20 years ago. And then you go 20 years ago and they say men should act like how they acted 20 years before that. So, all the way back to 400 BCE. God damn. I feel like the condition of today's masculinity and femininity ties into a lot with like money and being a provider. Maybe people look at the 1950s, I guess, a lot, where men worked and women stayed at home. I guess that's like an important feature of what people are complaining about nowadays, and that you're not a man if your woman pays bills. I think, what are the main complaints these days, chat? Women work too much, they're too independent. Men are soft, feminine, care about their feelings too much, embracing their emotional side, right? Sassy men. You know what's crazy? I am actually one of the critics of men's sassiness. I've seen it, bro. And you know, one of the strongest examples I be having, bro, is times that this was maybe, I can't even think of the most recent one, but like, let's say I'm in a girl close friends on Instagram, or she was just a friend of mine, and you see her messages with a dude and dude like complaining or bitching, or like, to me, the energy of bitching and complaining is just not masculine. And maybe I'm like old school, old man on the porch when it comes to that. But to me, I don't think it's masculine to complain. To like complain to a person. Like, let me think. Let's say me and you work a job, right? We're two guys and we're complaining about the job. That's to me, that's not the complaining I'm talking about, chat. Like, oh man, this is motherfucking, man, my back hurt, bro. Like, pause. My back, man, they got us working all these shifts. That complaining is not the complaining I'm talking about. I'm talking about like when I've seen the messages and then like a sort of passive aggressive complaining towards women. Like, I think that's like, come on, that's feminine as fuck to me. You can vent as a man, but complaining is weak, right? Do y'all get what I'm saying? Am I making a clear case for the difference I'm talking about, chat? Like, to me, like a passive aggressive, emotional, like teen in a bedroom, to me that's sassy, bro, as a man. You know, I think beating around the bush is sassy. Because the men I respect and the kind of man I respect being as a man, and just by the standard that was set, but to me, by the men I grew up around, was say what you mean and mean what you say. Say it with your chest, little nigga. Like, that's just the shit I grew up hearing. Speak up. You know, men that like kind of talk too low or with a timid energy, to me is not masculine. And y'all know I take that stance when I say, as a man, you cannot be shy. Being shy should not exist if you're a man. Da, da, da. That's just my opinion on that. Why? Because to me, being a man in general in life, like if I'm imagining having a wife and kids, right? Being a man to me is about being able to take a challenge willingly. So to me, the energy of being shy is just the opposite of that. Because if you're shy, to me, that means you're in a situation where the situation has you in a corner, shriveled up. So if a fucking burglar breaks into the crib at night, to me, I just don't it doesn't give the energy to me that a timid guy is like, hold on, y'all. Listen, go in the closet. I'm about to grab the rifle. Or, to me, that energy just doesn't go together. Now, somebody in the chat could disagree. Let me know. State the case. I mean, I listen. I like good arguments. But that's just my opinions on what today's masculinity, the aspects I don't like that I've seen. Now, I don't agree that if a woman makes more than a man, that you're not the man in the relationship or you don't maintain your masculinity. Why? Because in my grandfather's case, his wife makes more than him. But he's by far the man in the relationship, or it doesn't take away from his masculinity or her respect for him. I've seen examples of that where a woman makes more than a man, and it doesn't make him any less of a man. And then I'll make the argument that if your masculinity or manhood was based on how much you have, that let's say your salary is $50,000 and hers is $50,000, $50,001, that $1 or maybe double your salary, to me, it's no amount. That makes her the man in the relationship. She's a woman. You're a man. Like that dynamics is not monetarily transactional. Maybe y'all have gender roles for the relationship that she thinks the man should take out the trash. And you think the woman should cook or whatever y'all agree on in your relationship. But to me, just because her paycheck fatter than yours, that doesn't automatically establish you're the man. You know what I mean? If your power to speak up or dictate policy or to speak up or say things how you want them to be was based on you threatening her with money, you don't have the power that you think you have, gang. I feel it's the people you were raised with, like the case of being raised around a feminine woman resulted in a feminine man. I didn't have my father play a predominant role in my life until I was I'm going to say 14, just because of how, the situation that was happening growing up. And with that being said, I still wouldn't blame that on, I grew, such and such grew up around all girls. You still went outside. You still went to school. You know what I'm saying? You still got a job eventually. I don't just buy that. You know what I'm saying? I don't just buy, such and such grew up with all girls. It's mostly girls in my family. I really, off the dome of my head, got 3 guy cousins, bro. And I can name 20 girl cousins. We're talking about, again, the standards of masculinity and femininity, how they change over time, how in current times people are never happy. And I'm just giving my opinion on what the state of masculinity right now, my personal take on it. You know what I'm saying? I'm curious what y'all think, chat. But have you witnessed a female using the fact that she makes more money as a leverage against her man in the relationship? If she felt that she could even do that, it shows how she was going to respect you in the first place. Maybe based on what she thinks, that's what she thinks that masculinity or power in a relationship was based on. And then if you're a man who doesn't think it's based on that, or you don't value, being a man or being masculine based on that, you show her differently. I think that could be a case. I think that could be true. You could meet a woman who she tries to, I make more money, so you can't tell me, and you put your foot down. And then now that y'all have this disagreement, you got 2 options. Either you submit to her viewpoint of her being able to control, it's masculinity and being a man is not about who controls who. So I don't even want to create this case. But you're talking about putting that power over you because she makes more or something like that, right? So you put your foot down and let her know, that doesn't establish shit to me. We're going to respect each other. And this is how it's going to be done or not. And the or not is leaving her alone. Maybe your ideals don't match up. You feel me? She could leave or concede. You know what I'm saying? That's my thoughts on that. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be one or the other, bro. Y'all need to meet human beings in real life and see healthy dynamics in relationship and realize, like for example, I had a professor in college, chat, who he was a stay-at-home father while his wife, he was mostly the stay-at-home dad, right? While being in school I'm trying to think, which one was it? I forget the order in which it went, but at one point in time, he was the stay-at-home dad, and his wife was paying most of the bills and making most of the money while he was in school getting his master's degree after his bachelor's, right? And then when he got his, because this was my finance professor, when he got his, degree and became a college professor in finance, y'all know how much they make. I think his salary was like $150,000 or something like that, right? And then she went back to school, or excuse me, not her went back to school, but she stayed at home after he got his degree and started making his career. And then he didn't complain about no power dynamics, and she ran over me, and she respected me less, and they were doing it with a purpose. It wasn't even this whole dynamic in their minds of, I made more money, so when she came in, she rubbed my stomach and said my food tastes good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think we just need more perspectives on dating, and the ones that are in their current pool are just very unhealthy and toxic and just manipulative as fuck. She knew it was temporary though. Brother, her acting controlling, regardless of if it was temporary or not, she would have started acting out over and trying to be powerful while she could. If relationships are based on transactions, that's all about you. No one respects you. Really, I'm gonna be honest, chat, and this is where we can move on after this. I told you this was in that psychology class that was based on relationships, right? The one I told you I was talking about, like the roller coaster love and the difference of being in love versus loving someone. How the honeymoon phase lasts like 2 years, and then after that you have to, like, love has to be an active thing that you maintain, just not something you feel. And in this class, one of the point I was about to make was, let me see, the statement you made just triggered my thought about it. Oh yeah, the transactional part. Relationships have what's called dialectics, you know what I'm saying, which is like two sides of it, which is like the one side that reminds me of what you talked about was there's transactions, and then there's affection. When something is done out of affection, it is done without even the sense of a return. So when a mother cares for a child, it's very affectionate. That baby can't do shit for her. That baby can't pay her bills, can't wash her hair, can't clean up after her, nothing, but it's just like literally a sack of meat that's just alive. It's just pure affection for that child when it's like very young. Transactional is the opposite. You do this and I do this for you. Back and forth kind of thing, tit for tat kind of thing. An example that was given in the course was roommates living together, and they take out the trash from Monday and Tuesdays, and the other one takes out the trash Wednesdays and Thursdays. You do your job, I do my job, kind of thing. And that was on the transactional side of things. Now I think that people live in different areas of this spectrum where they either believe that, man, this shit is just transactional. Nobody loves you but your mother. That bitch gonna love you as long as you do something for her. She ain't gonna hold you down when shit hit the fan. She ain't gonna ride or die for you, man. Da-da-da-da. And there's people that have seen that are just hopeless romantics. Man, I want to be in love. I'm gonna find my true love. I want to find my soulmate. That's what I think the opposite of the spectrum is. My standpoint is I've seen people. I think that you could have. There's going to be both in a real relationship. There's going to be both. That when you're with that woman, she's going to have expectations of you, and when that woman's with you as a man, there's going to be expectations you have of her as a woman, and y'all feel each other's expectations. Well, I should really use standards instead of expectations. Y'all fulfill each other's standards, and that's what makes y'all happy. So if it's her standard that she wants a guy to pay the bills or pay majority of the bills or make more than her, and you meet that standard, then y'all just naturally be happy. If you're the guy that his standard is he wants to pay most of the bills. For me, I want to pay all the bills for my woman when that's really my girl. I don't want her to be working a job. I want her to do something that fulfills her, but I don't want her to be, thinking she got a pension for the rent. So for me, that's just the kind of guy I am. So with that being said, it would benefit me to be with a woman who wants to be not paying the bills. It just works out that way. And if I was a 50-50 guy, then I'll probably be with a woman who doesn't care about paying 50-50. Why would I argue with a woman that wants to have her bills paid? It just doesn't make sense.